Okay, so ultimately this is going to be a demonstration of grooving a foundered, rotated hoof wall with a laminar wedge. Okay, and the reason that you have to groove it is because when the foot rotates, okay, right in here the wall separates and this toe here goes back that way. Okay, this part of the hoof wall is still growing this way and is still connected to that foot. Alright, but the toe, okay, internally has tipped back this way. And so what you have then is you have a squeezing effect where it's actually, because this back half of the foot is not solid, it's cartilage. It bends like this. Okay, this here where the coffin bone is, it's solid, but right in here, this can bend up and down, and it can be squeezed the whole foot together. Like you're looking here at a plaster cast of a foot, of a dissection I did. Okay, but in a foundered foot, okay, the foot is squeezed together. See, here's a real foot, but it's all dried up. Okay, but this right here, all this is soft cartilage right here. And this can bend. This right here, you see, now look, the foot, when it's normal, if this wasn't dried up, it'd be a certain length from here to here, right? But in a foundered foot, when this toe rotates backwards and this cartilage, all this bends, it shortens up the whole foot. You know, it's just like this ruler's a certain length, right? Until I bend it, then it's that long. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, it's the same with this foot. Once this bends back that way, okay, it's pulling this foot together, and so what you have here is it's actually squeezing the foot upwards, and what you're supposed to have is a nice smooth line right here for the what they call the coronary band groove. Here, look here. Okay, your coronary band fits right in here. This is the coronary band groove of the hoof capsule. Okay, and it should be relaxed and just sitting in there, no pressure on it, nothing like that. But what happens is when that foot gets bent internally and there's a big wedge in the toe here, it squeezes this foot together like so. So that there's a big wedge here in the toe that's pushing this toe back, and this cartilage is bent and it's squeezing this whole foot together. And what you're going to see up here where it should be smooth, where the coronary band should just rest right in there, you're going to see a bulge up here because that foot is being squeezed internally, okay, and it's bulging and pushing the foot up like this. So what you have to do is you have to get the leverage off the laminar wedge that is in the toe here that is pushing that toe back and squeezing that foot up out of the capsule. Now here's two capsules. You see they come off just like a shoe. Okay, now the foot was meant to fit perfectly inside the capsule here. All right, so if you change the dimension of the capsule internally, which is what happens when you get a laminar wedge here, and also you change the dimensions of the foot by squeezing this cartilage back here forward and the toe like this, well then things just aren't fitting right. It's squeezing that foot up and out of the capsule, and the dorsal wall can never grow down connected correctly to this foot. Now you see here how this wall grows down almost straight. Okay, this is a pretty good connection on this foot here. So this is one of the things that happen. Now one major cause of both laminitis and club feet is when you have a situation where somehow this internal foot gets bent. Okay, like normally you'd have the whole hoof wall growing like this, from here to here, here to here, here to here. It starts here, it should end here. If it starts here, it shouldn't end up here, like so. See, the piece should be like this, not grown over like that. That's when you have hoof distortion. Okay, so one major cause is when this foot gets bent somehow, like the heels grow too long and collapse forward, and then you have the toe may be still growing like this, but the heels are growing like that, and so it's squeezing this internal foot. Now, one way that happens too, another thing that happens is when people over trim the heels. Now you see here, right here, you're supposed to have a heel buttress wall like this that supports the cartilage right here and supports the back of the bulb back here and just keeps it stationary like that. So what happens when people over trim this right here, okay, they trim this wall right here out of the foot, okay, what happens is you actually start trimming the whole capsule out of the foot. I'm going to give you an example as to what happens. Let's say this is your hoof capsule. Let's say this is your hoof capsule right here. And you've got your buttress wall here. And it's supposed to be a certain length so that it supports the back of this internal foot right here. Okay, this is supposed to stay a certain specific length so that you have a certain amount of sole under here. See, you have to have a certain amount of sole under here, and so that it supports this cartilage and the back of the heel of the foot specifically. And it is supposed to stay exactly like this. Okay, and you have to learn to recognize that. You have to learn to recognize when you have. Now, when you go to trim it, okay, when people trim the heels too short and bring it back too far, it sets everything at a different angle here, forward. Now, what happens is, and this is happening all over the place, and I did it to a pony. Okay, let's say this is your hoof capsule here. Here's your buttress wall back here. Here's your hoof capsule. Okay, when you keep trimming the heels out of a horse, what happens is you actually start trimming the whole hoof capsule out of the foot. Watch this. Trim them, trim them, trim them, trim them. See there? The hoof capsule actually starts getting shorter. See this hoof capsule right here? Okay, now what happens then? Okay, everything here that is connected to this part of the hoof capsule starts getting pulled down and under like this. All this cartilage that is supposed to be supported by a hoof wall back here starts getting pulled down. Let's do it again. Here's your hoof capsule. You over trim the heels, start trimming the heel buttress out. You don't notice it because see, these hoof capsules, okay, look here. You see this skin looking stuff here, this bulb skin, and it goes around over here? Okay, this stuff stretches as you over trim the heels and start trimming this hoof capsule out of the foot. This bulb skin stretches to disguise and cover up what you're doing. And so what happens is instead of the foot here fitting into the whole capsule, okay, just like a shoe, like you have a whole shoe here, what happens is, okay, as you keep trimming those heels down and out and trimming the heel buttress out of the foot, the periople stretches to disguise what you're doing. So you're trimming it, and you're trimming this out, and it's pulling all of this cartilage down and under like that, but it's all disguised by bulb skin. And the hoof capsule that should be this long and that the whole foot should fit in there, see, the whole foot should fit in, pretty soon the whole back of that foot is sitting on the ground and out like this, where it should have been supported by a heel buttress wall up in the air with sole underneath it. Okay, and instead what's going on is you are trimming the whole capsule out of the foot, and this is what's happening. What's happening? That hoof capsule's getting shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter, like this. Okay, but the periople skin is all stretching right around here and pulling down and under so that you don't recognize it. But you have trimmed the whole hoof capsule out of the foot. This is an epidemic. Okay, so then what you have to do, you have to start regrowing this heel buttress wall right here. Okay, and what happens first before you can ever grow it so that it's normal again and supporting the back of this foot like so. Okay, what it has to do, okay, you've got a hoof capsule clear up here like this. As you grow, it's going to add the side wall right here back in. It takes a long time to regrow it back in once you've trimmed it all out like that. Okay, so first you'll think, well, I'm not getting any heels. My heels aren't growing. Well, no, it's growing, but what it's doing, it's restoring this part of the heel first. This part right here, it's restoring this area in here. Okay, then once it gets back, then that heel buttress will grow up and to where it starts pushing up the cartilage like it's supposed to. As soon as it gets grown up in here so that it's supporting all the cartilage, then it'll start growing out the bottom to where you'll get the sole correctly under this part of the foot, and you'll get some good frog going here. Okay, so this is what is happening. People are trimming by over trimming the heels, continually bringing them back to 1 1/8 inch like a lot of people are doing, meaning from the hairline down here 1 1/8 inch. Okay, that just barely covers the bulb. Your heel should be from the hairline down here about 2 inches. That gives you first of all, that gives you support and length for all this here, the bulb, which is the back of the coronary band where it goes under here and turns into the bar, and the lateral cartilage up here, the cartilage. And so this heel buttress wall is what stabilizes the whole foot right here. That's why it's called a buttress. All right, and see, and you have to have a certain amount to cover up the foot itself, and then to grow beyond that back here so that it supports the foot, and you have sole growing under here. You want at least that much sole under the toe, right? So you've got to have a heel buttress wall that's going to support the back of the foot and give you that much sole underneath here as well. Okay, so here's a hoof capsule. So you pretend this ruler is your basic shape and form of your hoof capsule here. See there? When you over trim the heels, okay, what's happening is, let's see, let me redo this. Hold on. Okay, you're over trimming the heels. Okay, it's just pulling the capsule right out of the foot. You'll trim all this capsule out of the foot, but the periople, all this periople will stretch and cover it up. And what's happening then is your foot is sticking out the back of the capsule, like so. Okay, and plus, it'll take all this cartilage and it'll just pull it down underneath. And what happens is, too, you wind up with a club foot, you wind up with laminitis. Because when all this cartilage is forced down and under, it wants to cut. It's got memory. It knows where it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be up here. So when you have forced it down by trimming the heels out of the horse and pulling it all down, it wants to come back up. So there is a constant pull on all of this. And since it's connected to the toe right here, what it's wanting to do is it's pulling all this cartilage up. That's why you get these weird looking frogs and periople and laminated courses back here, and it looks like the heels grow, and the toe doesn't. It's because when all this is pulled down and it's wanting to come back up, it is pulling the whole toe under like that. See, so you have to regrow and reestablish the heel buttress back here before you'll get rid of some cases of chronic laminitis, because that is what's causing it. Okay, so I hope that explained that to you a little bit. Again, what are you doing when you're over trimming your heels and you don't understand the anatomy of the heel buttress? Well, you're just trimming the whole capsule out of the foot, and then you wind up with the foot that is, okay, that is this long, a capsule this long that should be this long. You know, and you wind up with cartilage that should be supported and up here and supported up in the air, pulled and forced down to the ground, and the horse walking on it like that. Okay.